So, if you've been following the series, sometime last week we spoke about poor dating or relationship advice that you and I thought it fit to discard so that we'd stand in good stead disregarding those and in their place employ healthier advice. And maybe, like me, you've had an uncle or maybe an aunt or a grandmother who's told you something that you've made your mantra, you believe it into 100%. Why? Because they have evidence to the truth they were sharing. And so, prudence then would dictate that we speak about healthy relationship advice that we may have come across. And that's the conversation I want to have with you tonight. Has somebody ever advised you about something and you thought, oh my goodness, and you've been employing it and it works? What did they say? I'm keen to hear. Please share with me on the comment section. If you're new here, good evening. My name is Eric, and this is Eric Stories. This is a platform where you and I exchange ideas about adult relationships and sex and money and whatever else. And the goal behind it is just to learn and grow and become better, right? I'm a meticulous note taker again, if you're new. I developed this habit a couple of years ago. I used to read books and then I'd be like, yeah, I'll just go back to that chapter and reference it. I wouldn't fold it or anything. And then when I'm done with the book, I've completely forgotten and I can't find something. One time I was reading Issa Rae's book, I forget what it's called. And then she'd poetically put together some thoughts of hers about something she'd gone through in Senegal. And I said, that's wonderful. That's really nice. I'll come back to it. I think that was 4 years ago. I've never been able to get it. I still have the book, but I've never been able to get that piece. So I decided then to really write down something I found poignant. And it helps me in two parts that I don't forget. And two, I can revise my notes and have information I've read really stick. So this is from my myriad of reading and things I've heard and picked up, statements I've come across. So let me know what you think. Now, as you go through life, you'll continually meet potential partners. Boy, isn't that true? So get yourself to where you want to be, and when you made your decision, stick to it. Put another way, every time we develop and our lives change, we'll be new circles of new fish, men and women. Isn't it true? I mean, look at the first person you dated and match it to the person you're dating now. Every time you're just like, what was I thinking? Why? Because people change, but not everybody changes. So you're dating Jane and Jane is growing and, going for courses and traveling and developing a new palette. And then you are stagnating. And then she just decides, you know what, where I've decided to go, I cannot go with you, Andrew. I'm sorry. So she breaks up with you. Okay? So then the wisdom behind this is simple. Set some professional goals and become who you want to be before settling in on a serious relationship. Yeah, attain some level of something that you think is important in terms of your money, your lifestyle, and so on and so forth, and then settle. Does that make sense? I'm not saying get way to be rich, but I'm just saying grow your mind a little to a place where you want what you need and then settle. Because conversely, if you just settle and then you sometimes grow, you can grow apart, I think. Maybe it's just me. What do you think? Let me know. Don't drag out a relationship if you don't see a long-term future in it. Just don't, please. I mean, most of us can tell within moments' notice that this is not somebody you want to blink with for the rest of your life. You don't want those eyes blinking next to you until forever. Forever can be a long time. So then what do? Something has died. Don't die with it. Live on. C'est la vie. Sometimes we are not who the other person needs, and that's okay. That's okay. All right? Keeping the relationship short, if you know you won't end up together, is not a bad thing at all. Keep it short. You'll save their time, you'll save your time, and you'll save a lot of heartaches. In the moment, it might hurt, but farther down the road, they'll have you to thank. Trust me, I know. All right? So don't drag it for too long. Don't date somebody's daughter for 7 years, 9 months, then all of a sudden announce the way you found your one. You would have left them 9 months ago. And they'd have been married to somebody else. Somebody would have seen the wonder that they are. And then you'd have met the person you see a wonder in. And then you move on. I think. Be careful not to get trapped by poor choices. For instance, trapped in a relationship you don't really want with a child. That's why I don't get people who say trap them with a child. Trap them with a child. First of all, this child is a whole human being with feelings and emotions. Second of all, no child will make somebody want to be in a relationship with you. Even triplets, if they don't like you, they don't like you. They will run away. All right? It's much better to be happy and planned, especially when it comes to children. What do you think? On money, the more similarities we have in common, the easier decisions making will be together. All right? It's easier. It's easier. The more similarities you have in common, it's easier to make decisions together. Do you have a saving culture? Are you into investments? Look out for that. Family matters. Having similar cultures, religious background or cultures, or family values, and the ability to get along with your in-laws are very valuable. Now, some relationships can still work without these, but again, less friction in these areas make for an easier relationship. So you want to look out for those. I don't go to church. I don't believe in going to church. Church is bogus. Is best placed with somebody who thinks like that. You are a church person. You speak in deep tongues and you fast and pray. It's oil and water. It's not going to work. It might in the beginning and then it's going to be stifling. Behavior is impartable. Do a family background check. Check their mom and their dad and how they behave and conduct themselves. You know why? Despising a parent grows into dishonoring you into later years. If they don't get along with their folks because of this and that, and they despise and dishonor them, they will despise you in later years. Why? Because psychologists have found that only two relationships are identical, that which we have with our parents and that which we have with our partners. It's true. We learn love from our parents. So it will take a lot of therapy and unlearning if you want them to change. But it's easier to just check out for the way they behave around their parents. Behavior is impartable. The ability to deny instant gratification for a long-term goal is rare. Check out for that in a person. Especially now in the social media age, people don't want to wait. To wait for anything. We are an instant generation. Wait, why? I want to go to Malindi, I'll go now. I don't care, I'll swipe my card. It's a credit card, but I'll find a way to pay. Everybody's going to Mara, I will go. I am going. YOLO. What is that they say? FOMO. I don't want to see photos and I feel FOMO. Hey, I cannot FOMO here. I am going. Kwani how much it is? It's just 90K. Well, a couple of 90K is down the road, you'll be in big debt. So the ability to deny instant gratification is very important. It is. Even about things like sex. Imagine it will save you a lot. I know it will. Age doesn't matter to some degree, but maturity comes from experience and time, but it's different for everybody. This is another one. Another thing to consider about age, the older one gets, the more fixed their habits. The more fixed their habits become. And it gets harder for them to make compromises. You want to remember that. People's personalities concretize as they age. It's very hard to remove them from their ways of doing things. And so then, you might think yourself as very mature. A nice, mature 25-year-old woman who is going to hook up with a 49-year-old man. But if there are things that are fundamental, core things that don't sit well with you, the likelihood that they're going to change is very difficult. So you just want that at the back of your mind. Like, I love him. He gets me. He's mature. And he has strong strokes. That's amazing. But just know that, except for the strong strokes, those are the things you're uncomfortable with. He might not really be willing to change. Because people don't change. Their personalities concretize. And then they die. All right. And then finally, on beauty, I like this one. This is like a double-edged sword. The hotter your mate is, the more naturally developed they are to accepting admiration and flirting from the opposite sex. In most cases, you're not the only one who saw her beauty or his handsomeness. Other people see it too. They will also have to fight off these admirers more often, so you have to embrace that. High beauty levels sometimes equate high maintenance costs, from clothing to beauty products and relational risks. So while chasing beauty, it helps to check their hearts too. I thought those were quite important. What do you think? Good evening. Let me know what your grandmother told you. Will you? Good evening.